John Asiata, how ready are you for this season to start?
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. Obviously, knowing a long time that I want to be here at the club and being able to rip in with the boys throughout pre-season. Obviously, I haven't had it as long as they have, but it gets to a point where all you want to do is start playing games again, and it starts this Friday.
The fact that you've not been around as long, how much of an impact does that have for you?
No, not much really. I've been around in the game for quite some time now. I'm an old fella now, so moving to a new spot, it's more about family, being able to settle in. But for myself, it's building relationships is not a hard thing for me. That's what I find that I do well, is being able to get to know people and know what their strengths are and where we can connect on the field and off the field and stuff like that. So for myself, it doesn't really change where I am. But it's all about just making sure that my connection with the players is really good.
So from what you say, you've settled in well then?
Yeah, it's been really good. The transition's been pretty smooth. I've done the transition pretty early last year. Moved around the back end of September. And family's been able to settle in properly. Kids are in school, in their sports. So that's the hard part. And then for me, it's just another day in the office. Go in, work hard with the boys, and then make sure that we prepare well for every single week.
Like you say, the move has been public for quite a while, and obviously you'll have known about it a little bit before that. How do you deal with that on your mind? Is it something you can put to one side and park until last season finished?
I think I've got a pretty good support network in when I was at Lee, helping me with the transition, and then the people here, JD, Richie, they've been really good with me and being able to make sure that I'm settled in properly. But then just having my wife does a lot of the work. She makes it a lot easier for me to be able to just focus every single week. She takes on the majority of the responsibility with the kids, picking them up from school, making sure they're ready. And then all I do is make sure I turn up to training on time, train well, recover, go again, and then make sure I'm ready to go for the week. So when you have a really strong partner that can hold it down, and I can just worry about myself and worry about that week and that game, it makes it a lot easier.
So how ready are you then for this new challenge?
100%. I'm pretty. Body's in really good nick. I've done a pretty good job with the physio and the medical staff to make sure that my body's 100% going into this first round. I was lucky enough to play last week against York. I don't think Johnny wanted me to play, but for myself, having a shorter pre-season, I think the best thing for me was to get out there and get some minutes under my belt. So that was really good for myself, and the body feels good. Just can't wait for this Friday night.
How good was it to get that time under your belt last weekend? How much did that mean to you?
It meant a lot. Obviously it was my first official game for the club, so it was like my club debut. So to be able to do that, but then I got the opportunity to lead the squad at the Challenge Cup as well. So that was a special moment for myself as well to be able to do that for my first club game. So it's all about preparation, and you can do as much conditioning as you want off the field. But when it comes to game fitness, it's totally different. So the best thing for me, I felt, was to make sure that I can get some minutes out.
And how good was it to play with some of the younger members of the squad as well?
Yeah, really good. Obviously, last year they got a taste of what Super League's like. Last week wasn't really Super League, but it was a big competition. Everyone knows what Challenge Cup is and how special it can be. And sometimes you can turn up and play a team from a lower grade, and they can turn up and pull your pants down really. So for me, it was about going out there, making sure I can lead with my actions, and the boys have been working really hard, especially the young ones, developing them really well and making sure that they're heading in the right direction. And what they did on the weekend was a bit scrappy, but the boys found a way to make sure we can stick to the process and just trust in what the game plan was and make sure that we got the win.
Obviously this weekend it's all about Super League, but clearly you had great times in the Challenge Cup with Lee. How much would you like to replicate that with Hull?
Oh man, when it comes to Challenge Cup, you don't want to just go there and make the numbers. We're aiming big, and Challenge Cup is one of those things where you don't get a second chance. So every sort of game is like a grand final, really. You know, Challenge Cup comes with the luck of the draw as well, and who remains in the competition. So you sort of can't really think about it every single week, because it's always every 2 or 3 weeks before you get to play another one. So, but for this squad, we're a fairly new squad, and we're building for something bigger, and we're going to continue to build every single game each and every week. So 1 week of the Challenge Cup gone, and now we focus back on Super League, and then when that Challenge Cup comes around, then we'll think about that one when it comes.
So what are you expecting from Super League this season?
For myself, man, I look nothing less than top 6. So, some people might say it's a big ask from what happened last year, but 2025 is a different year, a different group, different aspirations within players, boys given more of a responsibility, younger boys, having the experience of Super League now. So I think for us as a group, we continue to build every single week, but for myself and what I really want this group to achieve and get to is nothing less than top 6.
What has the atmosphere been like amongst the players? You spoke to John Cartwright about it, obviously a group from last year that went through a tough time.
Yeah.
So how's the atmosphere been this year?
It's been really good. I think it's been refreshing for a lot of the guys that were here last year. A lot of new faces, different coaching staff, different ways of training, just building the relationships, boys starting to bond more. I think the group at the moment, from what I've seen and what I've heard from last year, totally different environment that we're in at the moment. So, all we can do is continue to build and continue to, work hard each and every day to make sure that we're ready.
And Catalan, quite a tough start for you, that one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always tough going down to Catalans. They're a fairly new squad as well, but they still have a lot of experience. They've got, Tavita Pangai Jr. over, Nick Kotrick, Luke Keary. Those players, they're not just players off the park. They've played international footy. They've been in big games, so they're going to bring the experience around, and we've got the same. So it's going to be a good challenge. If we can go there and make sure that we trust the process and do what we do best, believe in what we've done throughout the preseason, I think we can do a great job. But we're going to make sure that we don't fall into the trap of trying to play fancy. This time of the year, it's about hard work and little efforts and 1%ers. So as long as we can do that, we'll give ourselves a chance.
And finally, what's it been like linking up with John Cartwright?
It's been really good. Feels like I haven't missed him since leaving the Brisbane Broncos, and the Cowboys still the same. He's been around the game for a long time, and from what I saw in 2015 and 2021, the same person loves to build relationships with players, understanding how to get the best out of those players, and he is a very people's person. So what he's done with us throughout the pre-season is really good.
Thank you.
Hi John. As a leader of the side, how much have you enjoyed watching the group grow over pre-season and get accustomed to a new way of playing together?
Yeah, it's been really good. For myself, coming to this squad a lot younger, I think that's the biggest challenge, is the experience within the group. There's a big difference between the top guys that have been in the game for a long time and then the guys that are younger. There's not really many of the sort of middle players, so it's going to be a challenge, and it's going to be a work in progress throughout the whole year. But I think from what the guys have had last year, being able to experience what Super League is like, I think it's given them a bit more of a perspective of what's to come, how to train, how to prepare for games and stuff like that. A lot of them are being very, very onto it with asking questions. Where can I improve? They're not just coming to me; they're going to other players, especially in their positions. I think that's the good thing about our squad at the moment, is a lot of the experience that have come in. We're not just in the one spot, like just middles. There's myself in the middle. There's Caesar halves. You've got Rapana outside back, full back. So there's a lot of players there that those young boys can learn off.
In terms of obviously getting accustomed to a new club and a new way of playing, obviously how you want to play the game.
Yeah.
How did you feel you went on Saturday? Because a lot of traffic went through you, didn't it? Obviously from first receiver, you saw a lot of the ball, which was good to see.
Yeah, I think for me, my role doesn't change the way I play the game. I think everyone's seen throughout the years that I love to get my hands on the ball. And obviously we've got a game plan to be able to do that where I can get involved. But then I think for myself it's understanding, the times to play and the times to run. And, been in the game 12 years and I'm still trying to teach myself that. Sometimes I overplay my hand too much. Sometimes I don't play at all. So, for myself, I'm still learning myself how to play my game. But that's my strength and I don't think that would change no matter where I went. But that's my part of the game and that's my contribution.
Obviously, you said the goal is to get into that top six.
Yep.
Will there be a little bit of patience required this year? Because it's a new team, a new span, new way of playing. Is it fair to say it might take a few games to get into your stride?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's the same for every team. Beginning of the year, it's not about the fancy stuff that wins you the games. It's about the hard work, and that's the stuff that you can't teach. That's an attitude thing. And I think if we can get our attitude right, turning up to games and, making sure we're on that kick chase, making sure we're covering our players' backs, if they miss a tackle, make sure that we're there to cover them. Those are the little things that we need to make sure we get right at this point of time. And if we can do that, we'll put ourselves in a big chance of winning games. Being able to play the fancy stuff, that's going to take time. Combinations, the only time you really can build on that and put it in a real sort of game simulation is when you play. Training, you can do a little bit, but it's always sort of scripted in a way. But the more games we get to play together, the more we can build on combinations and different plays. But if we can get our attitude right from the get-go, puts ourselves in a good place.
How excited are you and the rest of the boys then to put all that into action on Friday? So it's a round one, big game, we're down to Catalans, good opposition. I think you must be ready to go.
Yeah, I think the boys have had, I think Cardi said it today, a 14-week preseason. It's a very long time, man. So our boys are itchy to, get out on the field and be able to play. And now we've got the opportunity to do Catalans over there. So boys are excited. I think they just can't wait to get out there and make sure that we can put our best foot forward each and every week. Make sure that we can make our fans proud with the performance that we give, and give them something to cheer about.
How impressed have you been with those supporters? Because that's a big thing.
Yep.
Rich is trying to drive right from the top and right through the club, getting that sense of connection back right throughout the whole club.
Yeah, it's been really good. The love that the supporters has given all the players in both the trial matches, you could just see when they turned up for the members to pick up their memberships, the amount of supporters that stood outside and waited for that. It just shows how passionate they are for the club. They're passionate, with the new guys coming in, and they're expecting big things, And for us players, it's it's our job to make sure that we can prepare to the best that we can to give them that.
So hopefully, preparing on Friday night will be the first step on what will hopefully be a successful 3 years for you at the club.
Yeah, 100%. That's where it all starts. So, yeah, very exciting times ahead.
Cheers, John.
No worries.
Hi, John. You mentioned earlier about the connections on and off the field, learning different players' styles and everything. One of the things I'd like to ask you about that camaraderie on and off the field. How important is that?
Oh, it's very important. I think that's where you build the trust within the group. As much as you're here at training, sometimes it's good to be able to spend some time with them off the field to get to know them in a deeper level. Spending time with players that you might not, talk to, understand what kind of football they like playing, how they play, the style they love to play. Those little combinations go a long way. So it's massive. I think that was one of the things that I love to do, to be able to make sure that our boys know that we're going to be there for them no matter what, how tough the game is. They know that they've got their backs. So that's what we need is to be able to make sure we can build their trust to perform each and every week.
Okay. And you've mentioned about having that trust and being able to have each other's back.
Yeah.
And you've quite come across the senior players linking in to cover some of the younger people in there. You've seen the crop of youngsters we've got now.
Yeah.
How can you instill that sort of attitude for you when you need that help and assistance from the young guys?
I guess for us, it's not about making them do that. I think for us, we've got to just lead for our actions. We can say as much as we want to say, but if we're not doing it ourselves, it's hard for those young boys to do it. So for us, it's about making sure that whatever we speak, we walk it at the same time, making sure that we can do that on and off the field. It goes as small as, having a promo, making sure you're on time, to, telling a player that I've got your back. If I tell you to go and get that guy, if you miss him, I've got him. So it's all about actions. So for me, it's making sure that whatever I say throughout the week, I've got to put it to work on Friday night.
Yeah. And we've got some good leaders in the team, natural leaders like yourself.
Yeah.
That's obviously going to help us in that department.
Yeah, but I think we've got a great mix of leaders. There's a couple of guys there that can talk and inspire young players by the way they speak. Because they listen. But then you got some like Zach Hardacre, he's not much of a talker yet. He leads with his actions, and Rapano's probably the same. So we've got a good mixture of people that can lead with their talk and do it through their actions, but then some guys don't talk as much. But then when you put them to work, they show you what it means to them. So yeah, I think we've got it right at the moment. And only time can tell how the group is going to progress, and it starts this Friday night.
Okay. And you've mentioned about your own personal goal is that your top 6 is achievable. Is that something that's the other players are thinking about there, that is achievable?
Yeah, I haven't really spoken about it too much as a squad yet, but to me, if you're not thinking that, I think you're underachieving, or you're not pushing yourself hard enough, because we don't just play games just for rounds and then finish. We want to be there in the big games and play the big games and try and get to the grand final. That should be the ultimate goal for every individual in your squad. So it's nothing really that I can answer with whether I think other players want that. I just assume that if you're in a team environment that wants to strive and take this club back to where it should be, that should be the minimum standard.
Thanks for your time. Good luck Friday.
No worries, thank you.